So we left off, we started talking about the serous exudation, and we said that that was pretty much the cure in instances where the injury is not quite as severe. It may be the initial stages of some of the more advanced forms of exudates, if you will. And I'm talking about fibrin, I'm talking about suppurative, I'm talking about lymphocytic, the various types of exudates that's in your notes that we're going to talk about here. So, as I said, we left off talking about fibrillous exudates, and these are going to occur in places where, you guessed it, there's going to be some blood vessels involved in that area, because fibrin is going to be polymerized from fibrinogen, which again is a component in the bloodstream, so it's got to leave the blood vessels to get to the site. And so exudates that are categorized by the dominance of fibrinogen transformed into fibrin constitute the fibrillous exudation. Okay, so that's what we're talking about. So this is an image of the heart from a pig.
Doctor, wait. You know it's not on.
Okay, so you're looking at here this heart from a pig here, and this would be the surface. This would be the epicardium, and this is a part of the sac that's reflected over even over the lungs, which are here. And the lungs themselves have this little white material around there as well. And so when you think of fibrin, you think of sheets of whitish material there over surfaces. Okay, it's not running or liquid as you would think pus might be, for example, another exudate we're going to talk about. But this was pretty much springy and form these little partial sheets of whitish material. You kind of pull that apart, it's somewhat rubbery. And here you see reflected over also the inner surface of the pericardial sac, and then the pericardial surface, or the epicardial surface here. And then there's some even down here on the lung as well. And some of this may involve the lung too. I'll get on that portion. So this is the logo of the lung there. And underneath it, you may have some fibrin along this logo of the lung, as well as reflected from the pericardial sac. So if this is the innermost surface of the pericardial sac, this, by the way, this would be the This would be the parietal pericardium. The visceral pericardium would be that which is reflected over the heart. The visceral pericardium is the same thing as the epicardium, right? So the visceral pericardium or epicardium, and then if this is the innermost lining of that sac that encloses the heart, this would be the parietal pericardium. It's just like it is in the abdominal cavity. That which is on the line of the inner wall of the abdominal cavity would be the parietal peritoneum. That which is reflected over the intestines and over the surface of the liver, all those visceral organs, would be the visceral peritoneum. All right, so the same network, same sort of situation occurs in the lungs as well. So we're talking about exudates here, and so here again, a specific agent may be responsible for this type of change that we're seeing here. Oftentimes in the pig or in the porcine, the bacterial agents associated with it. This is the chest cavity and the abdominal cavity from a bovine. So the young bovine calf, and basically you see the whitish material again. I mean, it's not liquidy, but it's structure to it over the surface of the lungs. Now this will be the lungs, and the diaphragm is here. Let's orient you a little bit. So this is the diaphragm, and this will be the lungs. Of course, the rib cage has been partially opened here, and you see that little heart right in the cardiac notch, which is that little space right there. And you see the heart kind of peeking out from between the lobes of the lung. So this is the lungs here. There's the heart there, portion of it. And of course the diaphragmatic lobe of the lung here. And look at the little whitish strands on the surface of the lung. Also the liver. Like whitish areas of this or the liver there, which is not quite as defined. But this would all be fibrin in the abdominal cavity as well as in the thoracic cavity. Now, this in the thoracic cavity that's reflected over the lungs. You see the lungs there, they kind of look brownish or meaty. And in a young animal, young calf, what might that represent? You wouldn't. You think you probably had not taken a whole lot of breaths, right? So when you're born, you know, just like infants, you have to take a breath to inflate the lungs. So the lungs never were totally inflated in this case here. And that's why they look kind of small and very firm. It would be firm if you felt them. So what do we call that condition in which the alveoli are not completely inflated, but they seem to be deflated, basically? What we call that condition when the lungs are not completely inflated. Or if they were inflated, then you lost air from them and you got now lung tissue that's pretty much more solid than spongy. What do you call that?
Consolidation.
Consolidation? Well, not in this case. You're gonna they never reach full capacity, or the alveoli never open completely. The animal didn't take a breath. Then we call that. There you go. Who said that? Yes, ma'am. Atelectasis. Atelectasis or atelectasis, depending on where you're from, dude. But atelectasis is what you're going to call that. A situation in which the lungs is not completely inflated. But if you looked at that microscopically, you're going to find a lot of stacks of slits for alveolar spaces because they have not fully inflated at that point. And so I say that to say these lungs look really firm, and they are firm because they don't have the sponginess of the air associated with it. So you take a piece of this lung and put it in a solution like formaldehyde or water, what's it going to do? Go to the bottom. It'll sink. You put a piece of lung that from an animal that has pneumonia in formalin or water, what is it going to do? It's going to sink. It's going to sink too. Why? Because you got the alveolar spaces, particularly bronchial pneumonia, filling up with these inflammatory cells and fibrin and all of that, these various exudates. That's going to go right to the bottom as well. It's going to feel how? Firm. Feel firm to the touch. Okay, so that's atelectasis. What's the opposite of this? When the lungs are markedly inflated, so much so that you can, almost like a balloon, you can puncture some of these little fully inflated, overinflated areas of lungs. And so they're going to float when you put those in solution, but what's that condition called? Not atelectasis, but the opposite of that one. When the lungs are super inflated. Emphysema. Pulmonary emphysema. You heard that one? Yes. Yeah. Okay, so opposite of atelectasis would be emphysema. All right, so but that's just by the way, no charge for that. Right? Okay, these are lungs too from a bovine. Now, all this white material on the surface there, what's your guess? What particular exudate would you guess this would be?
Fiber.
Yeah, it'll be fiber. It's a little different. This is pretty much more confluent, and I tell you, if you try to peel this away, you're going to tear the underlying surface of the lung because this is tight in here and actually has begun underneath this to grow, or I would say not grow, but to be formed underneath this is fibrous tissue. Okay, so collagen fibers are underneath this. So I remember I told you these exudates then are pretty much show up in what phase of inflammation? Well, this one would be chronic, but fibrin, when we expect that to show up? In acute phase. In acute phase of inflammation. But as I said, if you have a whole lot of this exudate present, it takes the body a time, a little bit while for it to resolve all these exudates. And so, it tries to resolve them when there's a lot of exudates there by sort of organizing it, if you will. Okay, and organizing it means you're going to get fibrous connective tissue kind of growing into that. And so when you try to peel this away, you can't peel it away easily. So what duration would you put on that, given that information? Yeah, it's chronic. And even though fibrin is an acute exudate, it can still be around in chronic durations, okay? In a prolonged duration, it can still be around, particularly if you have a whole lot of it and the body had not removed it. You're gonna get fibrous tissue, fibroblasts growing into it and laying down collagen fibers, and that's kind of tough. You don't remove that easily, okay? So this would be fibrin on the surface, but as it abuts, if you will, the actual pleural surface of the lung itself, from underneath the deep part of this, you're going to have fibrous connective tissue growing into it. Okay, that's why you can't peel it off that easily. Yes, ma'am.
On the previous picture, I think that was the liver.
Yes.
There's a red area and there's the white on the sides.
Yeah.
So is the red, okay.
That's normal liver.
Uh-huh,
Yeah. This white part will be elements of fibrin
okay.
on the surface. Yeah. Okay, so now this is a section of the rib cage, and you're looking at the inner surface of the rib cage, all right? So what's that inner lining of the rib, of the thoracic cavity called? Which one? Yes, parietal, pleural, or costal, C-O-S, costal, because that refers to the ribs. So parietal, pleural would be here. That which is reflected over the lungs would be what? So you see the pattern with the heart, with the intestines, with the chest cavity. You got parietal and you got visceral. Okay, so this would be the parietal pleural that's covered by all this whitish material here again. And so you see like this is the inner portion of a section of ribs. Okay, maybe like a rib right there, like one right there, and one right here perhaps. But all of this would be dense fibrin, but because you got so much there, probably if you try to peel that away as well, you're going to do it with difficulty because it's beginning to organize. And because it has begun to organize, duration you're going to put on that, even though fibrin is an acute exudate, you're going to think chronic because of connective tissue, or making it difficult to peel away easily. Now again, if I project a start like this, I have to arm you with information. Right? You're just looking at this, well, that's a chronic process. You put it on the memory reel. But I want you to put it on the memory reel. I'll give you some information to lead you down a particular path with this. I just want to project that and say, give me a duration. I have to give you some information about this. All right, yes, ma'am.
So why would we say that this is fibrin and not fibrous?
Yeah, well, you again, there's a layer here. There's a layer that's kind of over the surface. You kind of look, if you look at the area where there's red down there, I have the impression that this is kind of extending a little bit over the surface there. Okay. Fibrous tissue tend to contract a bit. And so if it's just pure fibrous tissue, tend to be a depression because you got those fibroblasts contracting down, okay, like in a scar. Now, you get some scars that are hyperplastic, but basically they contract to reduce the size of a wound. And in doing that, they tend to be more depressed and not raised over a particular surface. Now, underneath that, you may see them, or you may, what's going on underneath it is that you're going to get fibrous connective tissue kind of underneath that growing in, but they're going to be contracting and pulling down, and not so much a layer of something over the tissue. And this is to be a complete layer of whitish material there. This is the intestines from the pig, and here again, this material, greenish material here, forming a membrane, if you will, over the mucosal surface of this section of intestines from a pig. This pig had a salmonella infection, and I just have to tell you that. Well, back up. The color of this is not the color of fibrin, right? Fibrin is usually a whitish, yellowish coloration to it. But if it's in the intestinal tract and you got all those the digestive air, plant material, and you got the action of digestive enzymes and all that, you may get a different color to it. All right, so this is a greenish, discoloration to it, greenish brown discoloration to it, and it's over the mucosal surface. And I have to tell you, when you try to peel this membrane off, you're actually gonna get tearing underneath that, because you got, first of all, necrosis of the underlying tissue, and you got fibrous tissue kind of growing into it as well. So your duration in this instance is gonna be what?
Chronic.
Based on what I told you, it's gonna be chronic. And this type of membrane, when you read through your notes, it talks about those various categories of fibrin deposits. It talks about different membranes, Cooper's membrane and a diphtheritic membrane. So a diphtheritic membrane would be something like this, which is difficult to remove without tearing the underlying tissue. Because number one, you got necrosis of the underlying tissue, and number two, you got connective tissue growing into this dense layer of fibrin. So the fact that somebody told you this was fibrin, you automatically think, oh, that's a chelating. But then, armed with additional information that you got growth of fibrous tissue into this underneath, and you got dead tissue also as a result of the salmonella infection. And so if you peel this away, you're going to damage the underlying mucosa. Okay, so in a case like that, this is a diphtheritic membrane. The Cooper's membranes will be one which peel away easily. So the Cooper's membranes will peel away easily from a mucosal surface. The diphtheritic will peel away with difficulty because you got some degree of organization, the fibrous tissue there, and then you got necrosis. In this case, the salmonella infection, you got necrosis too underneath this. So this would, again, fibrin, but a unique type of fibrin membrane that's called a diphtheritic membrane.
What did you call the membrane that tears away easily?
Cooper's, Croupous.
So essentially, we're just saying that they're synonyms, right? The diphtheritic is going to be in terms of the fibrinous, or the
Yeah.
fibrous. I'm sorry.
No, it's fibrinous, yeah. So diphtheritic is a fibrinous membrane, but also have some organization in it underneath it with that's connective tissue or fibrous connective tissue growing underneath that. The surface you can still peel it off just like fibrin, but that which is attached to the surface of the mucosa here would be difficult to peel off. And so that makes it a diphtheritic membrane. It's a membrane it's a pseudomembrane because it's not a true membrane that's a part of the intestinal tract. So it's a pseudomembrane, but it's a diphtheritic one in that it's tightened here and it's tightened here because you got fibrous tissue growing into it. It's not just, it was just strictly fibrin, you could peel it away easily, and you wouldn't call that a diphtheritic, you call that a what? What kind of pseudomembrane? Crouper's pseudomembrane, right? And so high magnification, and you can see that how rough that is there. And then you can peel some of the superficial little nodules off of that pretty easily. But look at that, see that down into the mucosa right there. And so that's tight in here. You're not gonna get that off all in one piece. And that's because you got an organization into it. So this would be part of that diphtheritic membrane, which again is larger fibrin, but you got some fibrous connective tissue growing into it. So what kind of duration would you put on that? Chronic, right. And no fibrin is an acute exudate, this would be chronic. Okay, now microscopically, this is a picture of fibrin here. You got some erythrocytes, red blood cells kind of caught in between, but see the little network of eosinophilic strands here. So it may vary from these eosinophilic strands to like just mats of eosinophilic material. I don't see any mats here, but these individual strands would be fibrin. This is how it's going to look microscopically with the H&E study. Okay, so this is looking at the chest cavity from a rabbit. Look at the rib cage has been peeled away, reflected this way. The head is in this direction over here as well. And this would be the rib cage open, and you're looking into the thoracic cavity. So everything is obscured by this whitish, pale whitish material there. You can kind of see that it's kind of oozing out of there as well. So now it's white in color, so would you call that fibrin? Why not? Consistency is different, right? So this is more of a liquid, not a solid, spongy material. no strands, no mats. This is like liquid material here. And so, this is actually a suppurative type or purulent type of exudate. So it's gonna consist most of what cell type? Neutrophils. And neutrophils producing damage to the local tissue, releasing their proteolytic enzymes there. If there are bacteria there, they may be dead and cause this as well. Okay, so this would be an example of a purulent suppurative exudate here. Pale white like fibrin, but you see that's quite different than fibrin. So it's spilling over into the abdominal cavity right there. And this was from a rabbit that had a bacterial infection in the lungs, and one of the bacteria notorious for doing this kind of thing is Pasteurella in rabbits. So a suppurative condition in which the thorax is filled with this suppurative or purulent exudate. I'm using those terms interchangeably, purulent or suppurative. Okay, so your notes have these little designations of different types of exudates, right? So exudates, purulent exudates in cavities. In general, the terminology for that is what? Just the general category of it, first of all. It's called what? Pus in a preformed cavity is going to be empyema, E-M-P-Y-E-M-A. And specifically, if it's in the thoracic cavity, you can call it what? Pyelothorax. Right. If it's in the abdominal cavity, you call that pyoperitoneal. If it's in the cerebral hemisphere, lateral hemispheres of the brain, you call that pyocephalus. Okay? But those are preformed cavities. So the general term for pus in a preformed cavity is going to be empyema.